Hi, my name is Sheila Trotter. Thanks for joining me today. I have some great news to share with you. About 9 out of 10 workers are covered by North Carolina state compensation laws. That wasn't always the case, however. Decades ago, if an employee was injured on the job, he had to bear the cost himself unless he won a lawsuit against his employer. We all know that can be time-consuming, costly, and difficult to win. Fortunately, most businesses now are required to cover their employees when they employ 3 or more people. These laws operate under the principle of no-fault liability. That's a really good thing for both the employee and the employer. An employee does not have to prove that the employer was negligent, and at the same time, the employer is protected from lawsuits for those injuries. However, the employee can lose the benefit if the injuries are self-inflicted, if they're intoxicated, or if they willfully disregard safety rules. It's one of the reasons the employers are put such an emphasis now on safety regulations and following those rules. The employer can lose the protection from lawsuit if it intentionally contributes to a dangerous workplace. It's important to note that an employee and an employer cannot waive this coverage, however. They can't just make an agreement and decide that they don't want to be covered. Who is considered an employee? Almost all businesses that employ 3 or more employees. Sole proprietors, partnerships, and limited liability companies must have this coverage when they employ the 3 or more, not including the owners. A sole proprietor can opt into the coverage, but again, he doesn't really count as one of the employees. Corporations, they must have coverage as well, but the corporate officers, they do actually count as the employees. So if you have 3 corporate officers, you're required to have that coverage. They can, on the other hand, the corporate officers can opt out if they choose to do so. Just as a note, businesses whose work involves the presence of radiation must have coverage, and also there are special rules for contractors and trucking operations, no matter how many are employed. Even if they just have 1 employee, they're required to cover them. So, who are employees? They are full-time, part-time, seasonal workers, and, well, according to General Statute 97-2, every person engaged in an employment under any appointment or contract of hire or apprenticeship, express or implied, oral or written, including aliens and also minors. This was interesting to me. Whether lawfully or unlawfully employed, they have to be covered. There are 4 categories of benefits. There's disability income, which usually somebody applies for and gets paid. They get paid 2/3 of their regular salary, approximately. There's also medical care. So if someone's injured, everything regarding their medical care is covered. There's also death benefits. If someone dies from their injuries, they're covered for that as well. Also, the last but not least is rehabilitative services. Anytime somebody has to have rehabilitation, that too is covered under the workers' compensation coverage. So that's all I've got today. So stay safe until next time. Thanks.